second part here. I don't know why I just ran out on that, why that video got cut short. So I will, again, on those big platforms, I'd stay away from, you know, the designer fragrances and stuff like that. It doesn't matter, even if you say compared to or this or that, and you're using all the legal disclaimers. I find that these big platforms, and so did another subscriber that I talked to, and he's also an oil seller, that these big platforms, the actual designer brands, they actually have agencies that go out and they comb these websites, right? And they look for any compared to fragrances, right? And you know, these big platforms, they don't want to deal with that. They don't want these agencies coming into them and saying, hey, you're carrying this. They just would rather not deal with it. So instead, they just, you know, they'll just take the listing down, right? What I do recommend, okay, we kind of have to get, and this is a reminder to myself, we kind of have to get off of this whole, you know, we just gotta like keep pushing the designer stuff and all this just because it's trendy. Let's start creating our own trends. Let's start having our own names, right? And of course, you want to look these names that make sure these names, when you name a fragrance, make sure that it is not trademarked, right? How would I do that? I would use a name that cannot be trademarked, like Extravagant Fragrances. You cannot trademark Extravagant Fragrances because it's not a it's a name that describes something extravagant, and then fragrances. Now you can trademark the actual, like, let's say if you have a logo, you can trademark that and register it. But let's start designing our own perfumes. Let's start designing our own fragrances. Let's start designing our own names. Let's start creating our own trends, right? Let's get away from you know, what the mainstream is trying to do in the perfume world, right? Let's make them follow our trends instead of us follow their trends. So this is just my message to the vendors out there, because I mean, you guys know, right? If you're selling like the regular body oils, the domestic stuff, or if you have fragrances that were created as imports, the brothers out there that do the mucullets, you know, all of this stuff, you know, the guys that handcraft the ouds and stuff like that. We don't need the mainstream to popularize our products, right? We could do that on our own. Yes, it's a little bit more work, but the way I would see it is almost kind of like, you know, basically creating kind of a almost like a subculture. You understand what I'm saying? So that's kind of where my head is at right now. That's what I want to do, and I would also encourage those of you out there who are in this industry who sell fragrance to do the same thing. So you have those platforms, right? You've got Instagram, you've got TikTok, you've got YouTube, you've got live streams are amazing, okay? Live streams are amazing because when you do a live stream, it allows people to get to know you, ask you questions right there on the spot. People kind of feel like they're there with you, and I can tell you from experience that I've actually generated sales from live streams. Okay. So another thing I would do, here's another one, is get on the phone, call up, you know, different stores nationwide, right? The awesome thing about that is it doesn't even have to be you making the calls. You could maybe, if you want it, let's say if you're a white dude or a black dude or an Asian dude, right? And you know, you're calling somewhere in California, or you know, where it's predominantly, you know, the area is predominantly Spanish speaking. Well, you can get somebody who's Spanish speaking to get on the phone, make some calls if you know them, and cold call them and ask them, hey, listen, I've got these samples. I run a fragrance company. We've got, let's say if you got air fresheners, the sprays, the incense, the body oils. Listen, You know, no obligation. Let me send you some samples. Try them out. Send your best package stuff, right? And follow up with them, let's say a week later. Okay, that's what I would do. And just get on that phone, right? I was in the gym, I was in the fitness industry. So one thing that I learned when I was in the fitness industry is, you know, a lot of our top sales guys in the nation, we had some of the top sales guys in the nation. They would get on that phone and I would watch them all day long. It didn't matter what the economy looked like. I remember during the last recession in 2008, and these guys are full of smiles because the recession doesn't affect a salesman, right? The same way a recession would affect somebody who's on a fixed income, right? Because your spread, your being able to cast that wide net is very wide, right? And they would be on the phone and they would just go down this long list of this phone making calls. And we're talking the white pages, right? These guys would get on there calling people. They didn't even know if they worked out or not. And it was just a numbers game. So I would also do the same thing. You know, I've also watched how these same guys selling gym memberships, they would turn around and when they would go and open their own salon, like I have one friend, his wife opened a salon, he was doing the same thing. It was just the same, you know, the way the same skill translated over to him helping his wife start her hair salon. And now he's selling cars. Same thing. It's all a numbers game. So that's something you can think of is get on the phone, call all your local shops, or all the shops nationwide. There's thousands of stores out there, thousands of small businesses that you can call up, send out product, no obligation, but do follow up. Okay. Now that can be costly. All right. You're going to have to kind of get clever with how, you know, what kind of samples you send out, who you're sending it out to. You know, do they have a lot of foot traffic, right? Or are they a small store? Did they just get started? Like that's kind of, you're going to have to kind of weigh that out. But that's something I would do. A lot of people don't like to do cold calling anymore. Okay. So that's where you can kind of squeeze in and really, you know, stir things up. And not only that, by the way, you would have a free lead, right? So okay, let's talk about the next one. So the next one is setting up at a busy gas station. I've known brothers that have done that. Let's set up a table at a private owned gas station, and people would begin to know you as that guy, right, who sets up at a gas station. I see it. I see it. There was one seller, I think he's in New Jersey, who does it. Forgot the company's name. He walks around with the wagon, and he does very well. I knew another brother out in North Carolina. He also used to do the same thing. That's called a mobile peddler, right? So those are also very successful if you're very consistent with it. Opening up, another thing you could do is find out where a very busy bus stop is in your city. Okay, that's something to also think about. Is a very heavy traffic. People are going to work in the morning and they're at the bus stop, and then they're getting dropped off at the same bus stop when they come home. And when people get off of work, people are for some reason seem to get that extra burst of energy and want to go somewhere and stop. They want to make a little stop before they go home. So that's something else to think of. And you can have the little belts, right, with the little shot, with the little shot shell belts where you put the little oils in, right? You could do that. You could walk through a mall with these belts on. Okay, if you drive Uber or Lyft, right, you can have those fragrant, just carry them on you, wear it. If a person asks, "What are you wearing?" Boom, that opens up a conversation, right? That's another idea. Another idea would be Craigslist. Now, Craigslist, you got to be very careful. I've actually tried this, but I've actually gotten custom. I tried it one time actually, and I got one longtime customer. This guy's purchased a lot of oils off of me over the years. He still comes back like pretty regularly, right? You cannot put the names, again, let's get away from these designer oils. You know, put okay, fragrance body oils. You don't even have to put the names, right? If you put the names on Craigslist, they'll take the listing down, right? And put the price, put like whatever your price is, put the oil, so people who know about oils get the picture of what it is that you're selling. And again, like I said, surprisingly, I've generated a sale on Craigslist, you know, selling oils. You can go to OfferUp, you can go to Facebook Marketplace, okay? You can, here's another one, just walking on foot. I've seen vendors do this. Walking on foot, cold selling. Just like you do just like a Girl Scout does Girl Scout cookies, right? We can do the same thing, right? That's so old school. You know, he used to do that a lot with Zig Ziglar. Zig Ziglar was a real old school sales professional, and he used to train people in sales. I always talk about him, and way back in the day, he used to go door to door selling pots and pans, and I mean, like, kind of like high-end pots and pans, right? And he was very successful at it. People don't really do that anymore. People don't really go door to door and knock on doors anymore. You know what I mean? The only people I know that do that are like the guys that want to help you sell on your, you know, save on your utility bills and stuff like that. But that's another thing you can go back to, right? You can wear it to the gym, right? People will ask about it. We're gonna be moving to another. We're gonna cut on this and go back and make another video.